do you disconnect?
Put it
Yes,
down.
you put it down.
And how do you do that? Because you can hear the text ring. Do you get it right away? When you hear something, do
you turn
answer
it off.
right away?
You can make it completely silent.
So you just turn completely off.
Yes.
Are there times that you do this more than others? Meaning, do you turn it off to go to bed?
I never turn mine off because I think we both have children.
Yeah.
We all both have children, so I'm always looking to see who it is. But if it's my children, then I'm going to respond no matter what. It doesn't matter. But I have a business too, so after 6 o'clock, I really try not to respond to business calls.
So, my question for all of us this week is, week 1, and I know there are some of you who heard it and have been waiting for it. I said the new neighborhood that I'm talking about isn't all roses. It's not all perfect. There are certain dangers. This is the week we're going to talk about the dangerous stuff. So what is the biggest danger? What's the most dangerous thing about this new neighborhood from a Christian perspective? Well, I'll tell you what I used to think was the most dangerous thing in this new neighborhood from a Christian perspective. I used to believe that all this new technology, all this new stuff, the biggest danger was that it was going to isolate us from one another. It was going to pull us apart from each other. We were going to live our whole lives on a device and not have face-to-face interactions. It was going to drive us apart. This happens also to be the main argument that people used against telephones, against cars, that we won't spend time together anymore because we'll be on our telephone all the time. We'll be driving around somewhere. But that's the fear that I had personally. And why? Because I watched my children on their tablets. You've seen children on their tablets. Kids who don't know when to not tell the truth yet, when they turn that tablet on, and they just became zombies. Have you not seen them? Practically drooling. Well, they were totally dialed in, and you'd say, hey, wouldn't even break eye contact, and you might get a, what? As they looked at that tablet the whole time. And I thought, this is the problem. This is what's going to ruin humanity about this technology. People aren't even going to talk to one another anymore. And Jesus came in flesh and blood. That's what we talked about in week 1. That's the core truth of our faith. Remember? And that's what it means to be human. I thought to have real flesh and blood interaction with real people. All this technology was going to pull us farther and farther away from one another, and we'd all just end up sitting in our parents' basement eating Cheetos and drinking Red Bull playing Warcraft. That was the human future. That really was the great fear in churches when all these new technologies started coming out. And honestly, is it not the great fear that a lot of you still have?
Amen.
We can't interact with one another anymore. We can't connect. But it turns out that technology doesn't actually isolate us at all. And I say that because the research shows that technology doesn't actually isolate us from other people. If you're starting to hyperventilate, it's okay. Take deep breaths, calm down. We got brown paper bags under the pulpit. We can get you one if you need it. Researchers Lee Rainey and Barry Wellman, they from MIT. These two guys have spent their whole careers studying the social effects of technology. How does tech affect society? Here's what they have to say about it. Rather than the internet or mobile phones luring people away from in-person contact, extensive internet use is actually associated with larger, more diverse, and growing networks. So the more you're on the internet, the more people you're interacting with. And it's not just on the internet. One study of internet users showed that between 2002 and 2007, there was more than a 1/3 increase in the number of friends seen in person weekly. So to put that just another way, the more people use the internet, the more friends they had, and the more they saw those friends in person. So it wasn't that the technology was pulling people apart, it was amplifying what their personality already was. If you are a person who's more likely to end up in your parents' basement eating Cheetos, drinking Red Bull, playing Warcraft, the technology will allow you to do that. But if you're a person who is more social, who likes to be connected with other people, well, the technology will help you to do that. It will amplify what you already are. So you can be, if you want to be, you can have more technology, more people, more connections, more conversations, more meetings. Do you see where this is leading? This is the biggest danger with this new neighborhood. It's not that we're not going to be connected with people anymore. The biggest danger is that we're going to be over-connected with people. It's not that we're going to not have human contact. It's that we're going to have way too much human contact. That it's going to be overwhelming and exhausting to us. In this new neighborhood, the neighborhood is all around us, all the time. That's what I've been preaching for this whole series. The neighborhood is in this church. Look around. These are your neighborhoods, or your neighbors. The neighborhood is downtown Albany. These are your neighbors. The neighborhood is the city of Albany. The neighborhood is Facebook. The neighborhood's Twitter. The neighborhood's all these places. It's all around you all the time, and it is always on, and it never, ever goes away. Ever. There's always somebody to talk to. There's always some Facebook post to like, some tweet to retweet. There's always some text to respond to, and it all demands your attention right now. Doesn't wait. Got to do it immediately. Some of you are looking at me like I'm insane. Is that not how it kind of operates? It never says wait, it always says now. A lot of this new tech. So we're constantly connected, perpetually plugged in. We're multitasking, bouncing from one task to another, all day, every day. It's just how we operate now. Religion professor Deanna Thompson writes, and see if there's any truth in your own life with this statement. We check our phones and return texts during face-to-face meetings for work. Have you done that? Check your text, check your email while you're talking with somebody else in a meeting for work. When we're out for dinner or with friends, we check our texts and check our emails. When we're walking, exercising, shopping, running errands, when we're at home, and perhaps most dangerously, when we are driving. Any truth in there?
Amen.
In our opening video this morning, those two women, their names are Linda and Susan. Their responses to my question illustrate the reality we face. What I asked them is, how do you unplug from social media? How do you disconnect from it? Is that difficult for you? And the woman said, no. She looked at me like I was nuts. Like, you fool. No, I can disconnect from social media, no problem. From my phone? I said, how do you do it? She said, you turn your phone off? And I said, really? Okay, you turn your phone off to disconnect? Yes. But then, the second question I asked was, okay, do you turn it off to go to sleep at night? And both of them, no. You can disconnect your phone, you just choose not to, right? It's like the addict talking. I can quit at any point. Now, give me a cigarette. You know, I mean, I can stop at any time, but do you? No, I choose not to. Why? Of course not. You can't do that. You can't turn the phone off because you could miss a call from somebody you love. The next text could be the one, and you can't miss it. That next notification from Facebook, that next call, you never know. Better play it safe and keep it on and on you all the time. The danger here is that in this new neighborhood, you can end up chronically distracted. Studies on the human brain tell us that the more constantly stimulated you are, the less efficient your brain is at managing it all. So when you're constantly connected, your brain literally gets tired. It can't keep up the workload that you're giving it. It's less able to process information. Your brain gets dull. You get stupid when you're overconnected. You make bad decisions. So you're always reacting. You're always responding. Always trying to do 1,000 things at once, but your brain is not built to be 1,000 places at once. Multitasking doesn't work. Christian hip-hop artist, Propaganda, that's his stage name, he sums it up beautifully, and it's in your bulletin. You can take it home and post it somewhere. It says, multitasking is a myth. You ain't doing anything good, just everything awful.
Amen.
This is the biggest danger of the new neighborhood. As we're trying to pay attention to everybody, we end up truly paying attention to nobody. As we try to be present everywhere, we struggle to be truly present anywhere. Our trying to be the perfect neighbor to everybody can actually keep us from being a neighbor to anybody. So how can we avoid this danger? The danger of distraction. In your bulletin, you have Genesis chapter 1, verse 31 through chapter 2, verse 3. This teaching is crucial in Jewish and Christian thought. In Judaism, they held it to a very high standard. Because God rested on the seventh day from all the work that he had done, the people had to rest on the seventh day too. They had to. It was part of the law. You didn't do it, it was punishable by death. They took it serious. You will rest. Because that's what God did. And God set the pattern. The day of rest was called the Sabbath. There was a cycle built in to the Bible throughout the Old Testament of work and rest. Spend your energy, and then you take time to renew your energy. You pour yourself out, so you take some time filling yourself up. You break yourself down, you take time to build yourself back up. You get the point. And Jesus was Jewish, so the early Christians picked up this cycle too. This idea that people needed to take time to rest and recharge. One of the realities of the new neighborhood is that Sabbath really isn't a thing anymore. Is it? You all taking your day of rest each week? It just doesn't work that way. If anything, in the new neighborhood, it's almost seen as heroic to always be on and always be able to respond immediately to everybody's needs. Isn't it? God, they always call me right back. They're always there for me. From a faith perspective, though, that's a recipe for disaster. You need rest. We all do. For the sake of your brain and for the sake of your relationships, so that you can love your neighbor as yourself. You need time where you're not plugged in and dialed in and turned on. You got to have time to renew and recharge. This can be as simple as going outside without your phone. It's possible, it can be done. People used to do it all the time. Go outside without your phone, not because your phone is bad, because you need some time away, right?
Amen.
Imagine if you were with the same person every day, all the time. Would you not need some time away? Or you would kill the person?
Amen.
There's somebody else can amen that as well. Yes? But life kind of forces you to do that. But it doesn't force you to do that with your own tech. So force yourself. Get outside. Psychological studies show that when people spend time in quiet rural settings, their brains relax. Their memory improves. They're more attentive. So when we talk about this on Wednesday night Bible study, we'll actually you can bring your phone and we'll show you how you can set your phone so that it only rings for people you say it can ring for. So you don't miss the call from the loved one, but you might actually get to sleep through the night too. It's amazing. Technology. And if you want to practice the golden rule here, do to others as you would have done to you. Give other people space so they can rest too.
Amen.
God, don't be that person who texts and then 2 minutes later, if they haven't texted back, you call them. Because you got to go right now. You got to know, got to have an answer. man, just give somebody a chance to rest. Like you want a chance to rest yourself. Jesus already saved this world. You don't have to do it. It can wait. It's okay. But don't stop there. Because if we stop there, it could sound like this whole thing was only about you and us and about our well-being, about us being healthy. If we stop there, the point could be that technology really is bad and has to be properly managed. But this is not the point. Being rested helps us to keep our minds clear so we can focus and pay attention to the deeper point of this whole series.
Amen.
And the point of this whole thing is that God is moving all over this amazing new neighborhood, online and offline, and we need to meet God where God is. It's about being able to cut through the crowd of distracting voices demanding your time and energy to clearly hear God's voice telling you where you are needed so you can go to work and work well. And looking at how Jesus operated can help us here. Because everywhere Jesus went, distractions followed. Everywhere. Everywhere he went, his ears were full of voices demanding his time and his energy. Everybody said they needed Jesus. Everybody. Remember when he would try to take time to rest? He'd go off by himself to pray. What always happened? And the crowds followed. Couldn't get away. So who did he make time for? First, Jesus always had time for his disciples. Always. The people closest to him never felt shortchanged. Ever. So I hope this one is obvious, but I know I need to hear it in the tech world. So maybe somebody else does too.
Amen.
The people closest to you need your presence in their life. The people closest to you need you in their life, present. Not you texting and talking off to the side like a kid on their tablet. They need you in their life. Children need parents in their lives, and parents need children more than Facebook pages need likes. Not because Facebook is bad, we can get back to that later, but your kids need you. Husbands need wives, and wives need husbands more than whoever is texting you needs to be responded to immediately. You have to build the relationships of those close to you. Give the people you love the gift of your presence.
Amen.
In this world of distraction, it means more now than it ever has. To truly look at somebody in the eye and talk to them. For Lent this year, this is what I gave up. I gave up my phone from the minute I leave the office or wherever I am at the end of the day until both of my kids are in bed asleep.
Amen.
That's what I gave up. I just turned the phone off. So if you can't get me from about 5:30 to 9, that's why. I will get back to you. Beyond your loved ones, you can look at stories like the one from Mark chapter 10 that's in your bulletin. Just as usual, Jesus is going along with the world pressing in on him, distractions everywhere, people shouting for him. But whose voice does he respond to? A blind man named Bartimaeus. People all around this guy told him, "Be quiet! Shh! Shut up! You're wasting his time." But that guy kept right on hollering. "Son of David, have mercy on me." The people thought he was just a distraction, not worth Jesus' time, but Jesus heard him and responded. Amidst the noise of the crowd and all the voices telling Jesus they needed him, Jesus responded to Bartimaeus. And this is typical of Jesus. Who did he respond to first in his ministry? It was the lost, the hurting, the broken, the outcasts in society. And that might be the best advice for you and for our church as we try to figure out where God is calling us in the new neighborhood. Look for the broken places. Look for the broken, hurting people. Whether you're walking around downtown Albany or checking your Facebook feed, Where is there true pain and grief? Where do people need comfort and peace and healing? Chances are Jesus is there.
Amen.
And if you want to meet Jesus, that's the best place to start, where there's pain. And really, that's what this whole series has been about. It's a start. It's the start of a conversation. It's the start of something bigger. It's the beginning of a conversation that all people of faith are going to be having as long as the world keeps changing. And it is going to keep on changing. One person I talked to on the street, she said something that I thought was profound. She said, I think that it takes a conscious effort to do it, to love our neighbors in the new neighborhood. I think it takes a conscious effort to do it. And I'm not sure if, as a world, we're ready for that. I thought that was honest. It takes a conscious effort to do it, and I'm not sure we're ready for that. It's a great question to end this series with, though. Are we ready? The world has changed. The neighborhood has changed. There's no going back. But Jesus is moving forward, and he's calling us to follow him. Are we ready? Are we ready to claim that this world and everything in it belongs to Jesus and has the potential to be redeemed? Are we ready to see this world with new eyes, to see the endless possibilities for what God can do through us? Are we ready for that? I believe we are. I believe you are. So let's move into this new neighborhood together, with hope, with joy, with Jesus himself leading the way,
Amen.
so that all people and all creation might be transformed by his loving power. Amen.
Amen.